More than 1.6 billion cups of coffee are savored daily. That's a staggering amount, enough to fill nearly 300 Olympic-sized swimming pools each day. And if you don't have a jar of coffee tucked away in your kitchen, you're certainly in the minority. Coffee, my friend, is not just a drink, it's a global phenomenon. In fact, it's the second largest commodity-based product in the world, with only oil surpassing it. But where did this caffeinated magic begin? Let me take you back over 1,200 years ago to a time when hard-working folks struggled to stay awake without this miraculous stimulant. It was a time when a curious herd of goats and their watchful master, a man named Khalid, played a pivotal role in changing the course of history. Khalid, an Arab goat herd, roamed the Ethiopian slopes with his goats. One day, he noticed something unusual. His goats were nibbling on a particular berry, and suddenly they became lively and excited. Instead of merely observing, Khalid decided to experiment. He collected these berries and boiled them, creating a brew that would soon become known as al-kahwa. Legend has it that Khalid, a legendary Arab-Ethiopian goat herd from the 9th century, made this groundbreaking discovery. There are even artworks depicting him. Once he introduced this newfound elixir to the Islamic world, the rest of the world couldn't resist its charm. Khalid hailed from Kaffa, which was once a thriving kingdom located in what we now know as Ethiopia. He watched in amazement as his goats nibbled on the bright red berries of a particular bush and transformed into bundles of energy. Eager to experience it for himself, Khalid took a bite of the fruit. The result? He felt an exhilaration like never before. Driven by curiosity, Khalid rushed to the nearest place of worship in his village, clutching those magical berries. After a brief explanation, the head Sufis, the wise spiritual leaders of the community, deemed the berries to be the devil's work and, without hesitation, tossed them into a nearby fire. But destiny had other plans. As the berries crackled and sizzled in the flames, a tantalizing aroma wafted through the room, impossible to ignore. The head Sufis, who had initially condemned the berries, quickly retrieved the embers from the fire and poured hot water over them to capture that enchanting scent. As they took their first sips of the resulting brew, they were swept away by a sense of tranquility, warmth, and calm that washed over them. And that's not all. The after effects were equally astounding. They found themselves staying alert and able to discuss important matters for much longer periods. The word spread like wildfire among the Sufis, and soon the secret of these energizing berries became common knowledge. And so, that's where our coffee journey truly began, in the humble origins of a curious goat herder named Khalid, whose discovery would go on to change the world, one cup at a time. Sufis in Yemen sipping on al-kahwa for the very same reason we reach for our morning coffee today, to stay awake and alert. They cherished this brew for its ability to help them concentrate during their late-night zikr, a practice where they focused their thoughts entirely on Allah, removing all distractions. This magical elixir didn't stay confined to Yemen for long. It spread like wildfire through the Muslim world, thanks to the adventurous spirits of travelers, pilgrims, and traders. By the late 15th century, it had found its way to Mecca and Turkey, and by the 16th century, Cairo had embraced it as a beloved beverage. Europe, however, had to wait a little longer to experience the wonders of coffee. The first coffee house on the continent opened its doors in Venice in 1645, ushering in a new era. Meanwhile, across the English Channel, the Lloyd's Coffee House in London, established in the late 17th century, became a bustling hub for merchants and ship owners. These coffee houses were the precursors to today's pubs and were not only places for enjoying a cup of joe, but also venues for lively discussions on political affairs. They even played a pivotal role in the emergence of the liberal movement. The credit for introducing coffee to the United Kingdom goes to a Turkish merchant named Pasqua Rossi, who set up a coffee house in George Yard, Lombard Street, London, in 1650. Just 8 years later, another cafe by the name of the Sultaness Head opened its doors in Cornhill. Interestingly, the famous insurance company Lloyd's of London had its humble beginnings as a coffee shop known as Edward Lloyd's Coffee House. By the year 1700, London boasted about 500 coffee houses, while the entire country had nearly 3,000. They were fondly called penny universities because for the price of a coffee, which was just a penny, equivalent to 1/240th of a pound back then, you could engage in conversations with some of the greatest minds of the day. The European way of enjoying coffee initially mirrored the traditional Muslim method, boiling a mixture of coffee powder, sugar, and water, leaving some residue in the cup due to lack of filtration. However, in 1683, a new coffee preparation method emerged and quickly became a favorite in coffee houses. The delightful cappuccino, for instance, has a captivating origin story. It was inspired by a certain Marco d'Aviano, a priest from the Capuchin monastic order, who played a crucial role in repelling a Turkish siege on Vienna in 1683. After the Turks retreated, the Viennese found abandoned sacks of Turkish coffee, which they brewed but found too strong for their liking. To mellow the taste, they added cream and honey, turning the coffee brown, much like the color of the Capuchin's robes. As a tribute to Marco d'Aviano's order, they named it cappuccino. From then on, cappuccino has been cherished for its delightful and smooth flavor. In the words of Sheikh Abd al-Qadir, who penned the earliest known history of coffee in 1588, "Coffee is the common man's gold, and like gold it brings to every person the feeling of luxury and nobility." It's a sentiment that has held true throughout the centuries, as we continue to savor this beloved beverage that connects us to history and cultures across the globe. Indeed, without the humble beginnings of coffee, we might never have savored the delights of Starbucks, Nescafe, and the countless other coffee experiences we enjoy today. This magical brew has been the spark behind a global phenomenon, igniting the passion of coffee lovers everywhere. It's a reminder that even the mightiest coffee empires trace their roots back to the rich history and origins of this beloved beverage. Whether you're sipping on a frothy Starbucks latte or enjoying the convenience of Nescafe at home, you're participating in a tradition that has spanned centuries and continents. So, the next time you take that first aromatic sip of your favorite coffee, remember the journey it has taken to reach your cup and how it has shaped not just our mornings but our culture and history as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe, because more incredible content is on the way.